We're all familiar with the proliferation of new digital content services on the internet, on set-top boxes, and of course on smartphones and tablets. But while the media industry has rightly been focused on launching these new services and bringing those to consumers, underneath in the back office, actually what we often find is that the business processes and the systems actually date back 20 years or more to when the content business, and particularly content licensing, was very much geared up to the television industry and broadcasters, where studios and content owners did a relatively small number of high-value deals licensing their content to broadcasters. Now, while the industry's changed, those processes and systems haven't, and so they're really being stretched in many broadcasters now as they try and ramp up to deal with all of these new opportunities where there's a demand for a much higher volume of content licensing but much lower values. So where you have very manual processes that involve commercial people and lawyers and paper contracts and quite a long sales process, it doesn't really scale up to deal with the new digital world where you've got a lot of new entrants coming into the market who want to license content. So we're seeing this year that many people in the media value chain, right from content owners through to broadcasters, pay TV operators and distributors, are looking again at the whole way they manage their content licensing and the content value chain to make sure that they don't miss these new opportunities. And let's give some examples. Televisa is one of Latin America's biggest broadcasters and content producers. They used to have a content clearance process that took the best part of 3 months before they were able to license content to someone else because it relied on lawyers going through contracts, a very slow and manual process. They implemented a media rights management software solution that increased that speed to a matter of minutes. We also spoke to one of the big international broadcasters who was in the process of launching new channels in new international markets, and they confessed that actually it was taking so long to read all of the content contracts that they were only really able to check about a third of the contracts for the content that they were putting onto those new channels. So for them there was a real risk of rights infringement, using content in the wrong place or in a platform that they weren't supposed to. So it's no surprise then that a lot of people in the industry are starting to address this, and there's a number of reasons that are driving that. Firstly, for efficiency reasons, people want to reduce costs, particularly in the back office, and so it's just uneconomic to have a whole lot of lawyers and commercial folks running through contracts for what could be quite a low-value deal. Secondly, they want to make sure that they can access all of these new markets, that they don't miss out on getting onto over-the-top services or making their content available to new platforms run by telcos or the likes of Netflix and Amazon. And thirdly, they want to avoid the risk of penalties and infringement by using content in the right place. And of course, they want to make the whole process of collecting money or paying royalties to content owners and talent and writers much more efficient. So at IBC this year, in the Whose Rights conference session, we'll be hearing from a number of players at every stage in the value chain who are working on projects to streamline their content licensing process and their rights and royalties management process. So we'll be hearing from content producers, content creators, who are at the start of the value chain creating content and licensing that to other broadcasters and platforms. We'll be hearing from broadcasters, from a leading pay TV operator, and from one of the major players in over-the-top distribution, all of whom are running media rights management projects at the moment. And as we're seeing more and more broadcasters getting into this area and looking at how to best deal with this, the aim of the conference session is to share some very practical experiences of the sort of challenges these players have faced, the sort of problems they were having in their business that they wanted to address, and how they've gone about doing that from both a business process point of view, but also the sort of software that they've selected and how they've integrated that into the rest of their technology. We'll hear from them about the sort of results they've gained from that, how that's made their business more efficient, and how they've avoided some of the pitfalls and the penalties and some of the gotchas. So with many broadcasters, content owners, studios and distributors looking at this challenge at the moment. I hope you'll join us for the conference panel session, Whose Rights? Unlocking Value from Media IP in the Value Chain, and hear firsthand how other people are solving this problem, and hopefully share experiences and gain some insights into the most effective way to run content licensing and operate in the 21st century digital media supply chain.